Okay, guys, again, I apologize for the quality of the notes. What we're talking about today are angles and arcs, and we're only talking about one kind of angle and the arcs that those angles intercept. What we have here are, remember that an arc is a part of a circle between 2 points. So this is an arc, and this over here is an arc around, okay, between 2 points. However, if this is point A and this is point B, both of those arcs connect point A and B, so we have to have a way to distinguish between which arc we're talking about. There are a couple of different ways. All right, so a minor arc can be named with just 2 points. Its measure is greater than 0 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. Okay. A major arc, there are 2 ways that it can be named. It can be named with 3 points, or it can be named with 2 points and then a statement that says through point A or point B. A major arc is greater than 180 degrees but less than 360 degrees. If it's 360 degrees, it's the circle. A semicircle is named with 2 points. Its measure is equal to 180 degrees. So if that's the case, let's look up at these 2 circles here, and I'm going to label a point C. This is A, this is B. The minor arc would be arc AB. The major arc, it does start at A and end at B, but it goes through C. That's how you would tell the difference between the minor arc and the major arc. Okay, notice the central angle. A central angle the vertex is at the center, and it intercepts the circle. What is true is the measure of an arc is equal to the measure of the central angle that intercepts it. So if we're talking about the measure of arc AB, if this angle measures 50 degrees, then the measure of arc AB also equals 50 degrees. The measure of the arc is the same as the measure of the central angle that intercepts it. Since the central angle here is 50 degrees, all the way around would be 360 degrees. If the central angle here, or the minor arc, is 350 degrees, then our major arc, the measure of arc ACB, is 360 minus 50, or 310 degrees. Okay. Now, the difference between the measure of an arc and the arc length, it has to do with similar circles, or all circles are similar. But let's go down here real quick. I'm going to draw a couple of circles. Okay, all circles are similar because they have a scale factor of pi, and all circles are 360 degrees around. So if I was to mark off an angle, and measure that angle, it would be the same as if I had this angle over on that circle. If I measured it, it would be the same. The measure of an arc is just how far open the central angle is. It's what part of 360 degrees does that go around. And if the angle is 50 degrees, then that means from this point to this point, that arc travels 50 degrees. The same here. This arc would travel 50 degrees. Now, you can tell if I was walking from this point to this point, and somebody else was walking from this point to this point, that this second circle, that would be a much longer trip. That's arc length. Arc length is a portion of the circumference. Okay. Arc length is the portion of the circumference. For example, if all the way around this circle was 100 feet, all the way around the circle, from this point all the way around back to that point was 100 feet. If I was to go from this point to this point, I would go halfway around that circle. I would go 50 feet. Half of 360 is 180, so that's why we have a straight line. If I was to go, let's divide this up into fourths. If I was to go to this point here, that's a 90-degree angle. I would go a fourth of the way around, which would be 25 feet. This angle here is 90. 90 over 360 is 1/4. So the equation for arc length, the distance traveled around that arc, or through that arc, is it's the measure of the central angle over 360. That's the portion of the circle that we're traveling. If the central angle measures 90 degrees, that's a fourth of the way around. So we're going to do a fourth of the circumference. So it's the central angle over 360 times the circumference of the whole circle. Okay. So I'm going to do one example. I'm going to do example number 5A. Find the length of ZY, okay, from here to here. Now it opens up 75 degrees. So from Z to Y is 75 degrees out of that 360 degrees. But we want to find how far it is from here to there. So the measure, not the measure, okay, L, that's arc length, is the central angle over 360 times the circumference. The circumference of the whole circle is 2 times pi times the radius, which is 4. And it says to round your answer to the nearest hundredth, so 75 times 8 is 600. So 600 times pi divided by 360 means the length is about 5.23 inches.